And we're back. That's the last couple of days were interesting,
Putting
especially
it lightly.
today. Yeah, today it got interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say with the knockout stages, Euro 2020, 2021, whatever you want to call it, has officially shown up. And I got to be honest, I think it gave us everything that we wanted. So, uh, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time once again for the worst 60 minutes in summer sports podcasting. The Too Many Guys Soccer Show Tournament Edition. And we're going to take a look at the sixth round of 16 games that have already been played, preview the last two ahead of the wrap up and as we head into the quarterfinals. And we'll be back later on this week to preview the quarterfinals. A quarterfinal slate that doesn't look like what most of us thought it was. Cam, I know you're with me. My bracket was busted.
Yep, that France loss. That's who I had winning it all. So that one really shot me in the foot for sure.
Yeah, I had France and the Netherlands in the finals, and the two biggest upsets of the round of 16. Dun dun dun, France and the Netherlands. But my picks of Denmark and Sweden still technically have me in the podcast Last Man Standing. I was thinking about picking France, and I'm glad that I didn't. So, yeah. So, G, welcome aboard.
What's going on, guys? Sorry, I'm a little late to the party. Just got home from my soccer game, so did very well. Put up a 3-0 win myself. So, actually, you know what? Give me 1 second. I need a change.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. He's going to go put his Italy jersey on, I'm pretty sure. Either that or he's going to come back looking like Mario from...
It didn't work this time. I can't keep it a secret now. I got to keep it a secret from you guys. So, yes, I'm going to put my uniform on. So I had a little screensaver, a little surprise for you guys, but apparently it didn't come through. So I'll see for next time. But I'll put my uniform on, though.
So, well, Stead and gentlemen, it was a pretty eventful quarterfinals. What'd you think, Stead?
I don't know. I mean, to be quite honest, for this particular round, I can't say that, Wales playing against Denmark. Denmark is going to be playing pretty inspired with their events, but also they're a relatively talented squad. So I think we shouldn't be too surprised that they were able to overwhelm after a really poor display by Wales, I thought, even before the red card. But I have been kind of dumping on Czech Republic too, and they've been relatively surprising. They made the Dutch look bad, and I think there's a lot of the bigger guns. Now, granted, let's give Netherlands a little bit of a, I'm not a pass, but don't forget they're kind of returning to the international stage after being away for some time, after their kind of last generation with like Wesley Schneider and Arjen Robben have kind of moved on. But that was relatively surprising. But it's as far as today is concerned. I mean, the best thing about it is we got 14 goals in one day. But I know we'll get into France a little bit more later. But to be honest, I think France got what they deserved. But
why not just get into it right from the jump? That was probably the big shock of the round, gentlemen. The champs are out. The defending world champions are out. Going out 5-4 on penalties to a Swiss team whose coach said that they basically needed a miracle to be able to beat France. By far, this was probably the most exciting single day of the tournament, as you said, Stead, with goals. In both games, we had 80-plus minute equalizers. We had two teams in both games. The underdog took the lead. A favorite came back. and then was subject to a fight back. I think in both games it was a 2-goal lead that two teams coughed up. I can't remember the last time in consecutive games that I've seen teams of the caliber of Spain and France cough up 2-goal leads. Right? We saw some great goals. Paul Pogba's belter from outside of the 18-yard box was a thing of beauty. We saw pure, unadulterated comedy. What was Unai Simon thinking? He might as well have just picked up the ball on that back pass and just thrown it into the net himself. It was a great advert for the tournament and the and the round and just the whole entire sport of soccer. I think, in my opinion, the biggest shock of this round would have to be the fact that France got upset. If there are any other ones, feel free to throw them out. But let's talk about what we saw today, gentlemen. Why not? Why delay the inevitable? I'll throw it to you first, William, since we haven't heard from British Will in a while. Man, what did you think of that France game today?
I thought that it was about what I expected from France this tournament. I didn't have them going very deep in the tournament. I did have them getting past the round of 16, but I had them going out in the round of 8. I think that they are a great group of players, but from what I've seen, their emphasis is entirely on, we're going to score a crap load of goals and we're going to score more than you. And we're going to play faster. We're going to be better. We're going to do everything faster and better than you. And from all of the France games that I've watched so far in this tournament, they've been half asleep. And they've just been slow.
They've been slow.
There's
I agree.
No
completely.
urgency passing the ball around and getting the ball upfield towards their players. And essentially, the joke of, Hugo Lloris boots the ball up the field and says, Mbappe will get onto that. That's been their entire attack. And so, maybe it's surprising that they get beaten by the Swiss because the Swiss aren't traditionally thought of as a powerhouse. But watching the Swiss today and in the tournament so far, they pass the ball around, they move it around, they get it going, they get it up the field, and they put it into a position where their strikers can score. And their strikers scored today. They had 2 goals from their starting striker and 1 from the substitute striker. And that's what got it. Essentially they scored 4 goals today. 1 of them was disallowed, 2 of them coming from 2 different strikers. The one thing I was slightly surprised about is Breel Mbolo wasn't as good as I thought he could have been, but he did his job. He played as well as he could have done, and he got taken off for the goal scorer who came in the 90th minute and scored the goal and won the game. Well, not essentially didn't win the game, but who scored the goal to get them to penalties. And they won the game on penalties because penalties is a bit of a crapshoot. If you've got a team of 11 professional players, you have 11 players on that field who should be able to score a penalty. And the Swiss, 5 of their players said, I can score this penalty. And Jan Sommer came up with an absolutely incredible save. I think that people are going to crap on Mbappe for missing that penalty, but it was Sommer was diving, saw the ball and caught it. Basically, it was good on Sommer. It wasn't bad on Mbappe. So that's what I thought of the game. I thought that it was essentially what I expected from France. But if I'd been asked to put a bet on it, I wouldn't have done so, because why would you? Why would you bet against a team like that? Because you saw in 20 minutes what they could do.
Rob, who gets the blame for this one?
I think the Chomps gets it, primarily because I don't know what Rabiot's doing as a wingback. I'm just utterly confused by that. And then he changed it a little bit in the middle, but the damage was done already. I mean, you had some amazing performances by Pogba and Kanté. You had and obviously Benzema scoring those amazing goals real quick. But I think the Chumps failed because not only because I just mentioned about Rabiot, but I think, for almost the entire tournament, there's a player, a very fast winger who can play. And I know Mbappe is going to be the man up top, but Kingsley Coman finally showed up today, and he almost scored the winner, and he came off the post. Kingsley Coman was electric, when he was on the pitch, and he should have been there, much earlier on in this tournament. And also, I think they severely miss Lucas Hernandez. I know he was on the bench, but he was hurt. And you need someone, in the school of Diego Simeone that could really, control that back line. And they just giving up 3 goals to Switzerland with the midfield, Pogba and Conte, it's just unacceptable. I'm sorry. And, they did this to themselves. And once you get to penalties, it's a great equalizer. Penalties are just simply kicking the ball, and these are all professionals. And that's what happens. And France are out.
Cam, do you agree that this one's on Deschamps for this?
Yeah, I think that's a really good assessment. When I was watching the game today, and William kind of alluded to this as well, they looked almost a little uncomfortable with each other. Not totally comfortable, I think, in where they were moving in relation to each other. As well, that assessment with, trying to be that really fast team, but not being able to kind of tie things together, put that little bow on at the end. I think that's a really good point. But, again, going into this game, I still would have said that France, was a slightly better team. I think the Swiss looked much better organized today. Again, much more comfortable with each other playing, really understood their playing patterns comparative to the French, which, again, they just did not look like they were really, melding with each other, understanding where they were going to be moving. So, I think once the game started, I kind of picked up on that a little bit. Not did I see France losing because of that? Not really. But in the end, I think, that really played arguably one of the biggest parts in them losing today's game.
Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, and Cam even hit on it. This is a completely different team that we saw in the group play. Like, just imagine if this team showed up to group play, they wouldn't be third. They would challenge for first place. So maybe their strategy was just get into this part of the tournament, just get to the knockoff stage and let's go all out. So, France maybe came in a little arrogant. I'm not saying that French people are, but, historically. But, they came in like, yeah, we're world champs. A little cute little Swiss place, Swiss third place team is coming in. We should be all right. But they looked heavy-legged. They looked like they were out of sort. Yeah, they had a couple bangers in there, but they just looked like they were just kind of tired after a while. And Swiss, with that they're down 3-1. All they need is just that one goal for a little momentum change, and you see that. And that's the biggest cripple, I would say, in soccer is that kind of that 3-1 lead. The team that's always up kind of just relaxes a little bit, and that team that's going to add a little bit more, wants that. Once they get that second goal, it truly is game on. And the France had no kind of question when Swiss was coming after them all the time toward the end of the game. They just wanted the game more. They smelled blood in the water. So props to Swiss. I don't blame anyone but the entire French team. It's not the coach. It's the players too. The players have to play. The coach has a strategy, but ultimately it's up to the players. And when you look at the lineup, it's nothing but studs. And for a team to, like Cam said, to have 3 goals get scored upon yourself against a Swiss team, like, you should not be having anything. Maybe a one goal that you let in, like an OG goal. But besides that, you should be blanking them. So this was Swiss's, I would say, championship game. But this is going to be one they're going to put on the records, and they're going to watch this game for a while. This is a very good game for the Swiss. So moving forward, really don't know. And you kind of mentioned a little bit about the Netherlands before, but yeah, the Netherlands, they're kind of a new team right now. To see what happened, yeah, Czech wants it. Czech with their experience and stuff like that, and plus you can't really hand a ball and throw it that way behind you and not get a red card, not expect it. So I love dumb plays, but it's good to see this tournament kind of shaping up how no one saw it to be. We're getting these random teams in here are going deeper. So I love watching soccer, and here we go, Euro 2020.
I definitely think that this France losing, it goes without saying, we're going to have a champion that we didn't anticipate. Even if you didn't agree, you like Will didn't feel like this was a team that had it all together. That overwhelming feeling, at least in my opinion was that they were going to come good at one point in time. Instead, there continues to be this belief that the only way to counter a team that plays three at the back is to play three at the back yourselves. But France had looked way more comfortable with a four-man back line and in a three-man midfield. We know that that's kind of where Paul Pogba operates his best. They go with a lineup that is, I'm not even sure what to term it. If it was like a 3-4-3, a 3-4-1-2, something like that. It was just weird seeing them go to three at the back, and I think it ultimately proved their undoing.
Yeah, and also Varane has not looked comfortable at all, for any game. There's been several times where he seems frustrated. He's had his head in his, he's had his head down, and he has not looked like the dominant center half that we've seen previously. So lay some blame at the players, but I think you got to lay blame at the defense. But I don't think you can get away. I don't think the coach can get away without taking some responsibility for this. I don't. It's you're the coach. It's your job to get your players to succeed and play at the pace that they should be. And France has not been asleep just for this game. And I didn't pick France to win, so at least my final is still alive. But I can honestly say I did not expect the team to come out looking so lackluster. And it seems like after the penalty save, they decided to turn the game on. And that seems to be what has happened in their 4 games they've played. There is a pivotal moment in the game where they sort of dodge a bullet and then they decide to wake up and start playing. And then they tend to just kind of lull away again. And it was very odd. And to see that from, you would hear the commentators say, okay, here comes France. And I was even thinking the same thing. Okay, well, here they come now. They decided to start playing again. And when they went up 3-1, I had sort of stopped paying attention. So it was but that proved to be their Achilles heel. It's that you can't just turn it on and expect to win all your games, because as Will just pointed out, this is an experienced Swiss team who had some success in the last World Cup. And look, Granit Xhaka and Xherdan Shaqiri may be the bane of Liverpool and Arsenal's fandom at times when they play for their club teams, but these two guys have shown up time and time and time again for Switzerland, and they've done that in this tournament. So, it was a bit of both, but I think France should really they need to hang their heads. They blew it. They blew it.
This was another instance of, and outside of last World Cup, we can really look at Deschamps and say, with all of this talent, he should have done more than he did.
And let me just say this one more point. With the talent that he has, Mike, because you're exactly right. If the player isn't performing, he has the depth to go get out of the game and put in somebody else, and he didn't.
And I still will always hold that it wasn't as much Portugal lost or won that Euros back in 2016. France lost it, right? Or France lost it,
Agreed.
Right? They had the better team. They were playing the better football. Deschamps got a little bit he got a little nervous. He got in his head. He changed the formations. He went and put in 2 defensive midfielders and sacrificed an attack, and they played like a team that was tight. They played great in the last World Cup, and then another letdown. So I think I don't like to call for people's jobs, but with the collection of talent that they have, the depth, you look at the players that weren't picked, that could have been, and you have to say, like, this is a team that's got as much talent as any team in the world. They should be doing, they should be doing better. So if France was probably our big disappointment, who impressed us in this round? G, I know where you're going, so I'm going to let you start.
Where am I going? No, actually, it's Spain versus Croatia. Again, like I said last week, Spain's at this kind of cusp of this new kind of new team, young bloods coming through. And Croatia's kind of your older, kind of, been there, done that kind of team with Luka Modric. I think today was his birthday or something like that. He's 36 years old or something like that. Not just that he's so old. He's 36 and he's still doing very well on the team. but Croatia expects too much out of him. So it was good to see Spain. Again, you have that 3-1 deficit of Croatia, and all they need was that one goal, and here they go back. They come again, and they keep on coming. They tied up 3-3, and they go in overtime. Spain put up 5 goals again against a very good Croatia team. I think Croatia just kind of showed their age, just kind of sputtered out at the very end, and Spain, with their youth and their speed and their kind of skill, they just kind of took over. So it was just kind of good to see Spain getting close to what they were about a decade ago, getting there.
All right, British Will, who's impressed you thus far in the round of 16?
It's Switzerland. I mean, they impressed me. They were good. They played probably the best team, probably the best football that was there to be played. They played incredibly well. They played better than anyone else who was playing. And you can say that Spain was impressive to come back from a slip up like they had with that awful mistake. And yeah, that's impressive. But to me, Switzerland, not only did they dominate the first half against France, then they got hit with this 1-2-3 punch where they went down where they let up, they missed the penalty, they let a goal in, they let another goal in, they let another goal in, and then they came back and they scored 2 more, and then they won on penalties. That's impressive. That's nerve. That's ability to win a football game. That's Liverpool in 2005 winning the Champions League final sort of stuff. That's being able to do it. So yeah, they impressed me a lot. Another team that impressed me, even though they didn't go through, they lost to G's team, was Austria. I thought they played better than they had any right to play. They really took the game and they made it into a good game, a game that was interesting to watch against Italy, which I really enjoyed. It was good to watch. So yeah, those are the 2 teams that really impressed me in the round of 16. And tomorrow is going to be boring.
We're going to get onto that in a little bit. Rob, who's impressed you thus far?
I mean, I might be a little biased because I was in a bar full of Danes, but it has to be Denmark. I mean, 4 goals on Wales. Gareth Bale was toothless. Actually, the whole Wales team was toothless. And Denmark just said, you know what, we're going to drop 4 goals on you and we're going to parade on to the next round. That was beautiful stuff. I loved it. And the atmosphere at Smithfield in New York City was beautiful. All the Danes were just singing the anthems and their songs. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm a little biased because I was in the environment full of Danes, but I mean, that along with such beautiful atmosphere and wonderful football, I mean, it was lovely seeing the Danes move on, and they easily could have crumbled considering what happened in their first match of the Euros. But here they are, and they're moving on, and they can be dangerous.
Cam, who you got?
So I've got the Czechs, actually. First of all, the Czechs beat the Scottish powerhouse, which I think has to be the greatest achievement of the whole competition so far. Any team, actually, to be honest with you. No bias there. But no, beating a team like, I think the Netherlands, right, the Netherlands aren't the same as they used to be, but I mean, they've got players like Wijnaldum, they've got Depay, if you look at the Czech team, if you look at the clubs that they belong to, they're a lot smaller clubs. The biggest player, I think, is Souček, who plays for West Ham. And outside of that, you have a lot of players that come from smaller clubs. Now, the advantage there might be that they're used to playing, in a league in the Czech Republic more. But I think it was impressive to see the Czech team really control that game with the Netherlands. With what the Netherlands had on the field, and some of the players who have that international experience for a long time. So they really impressed me, and again, we'll see how far they go. But I do just want to remind everyone that they beat the Netherlands the same score they beat Scotland with. So don't forget.
So by the transitive property, Scotland could tie the Netherlands?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Scotland should also be ranked about 16th in the FIFA World Rankings, to be honest. I think they need to reevaluate that ranking system, if you ask me.
So we'll get that started. Free Scotland, the Free Scotland movement.
Damn right.
Instead, who you got?
Yeah, I agree with Cam. I'm gonna go Czech Republic. I mean, you look at Schlick, who's sitting or Schick. It's hard to pronounce those names right all the time, but he's sitting on 4 goals and looking at a possible Golden Boot winner with the only player with more goals, Ronaldo, being out. But the goalkeeper has been playing really well too, and he's an experienced guy playing for Sevilla. He's got, he's in his early 30s. He's really kind of peaking. Those are like the peak goalkeeper years. So you're looking at a squad that. Also, a lot of players play at home. There's a lot of players that are playing in Czech Republic, so they're relatively familiar with each other, and I think that's translating well on the field. But I don't see a team that's fluked their way into the quarterfinals. I see a team that's playing cohesively and is also, it's not they're not Northern Ireland. This is a team that has competed. I believe Czechoslovakia has won a European championship before, so there's history there. And these players know how to win, and they're not intimidated. And I think now that's another team that I don't think teams are going to really want to see moving forward. So it'll be exciting to see where they end up. I would not be surprised though if they semifinal or final.
Well, that's going to set up a very, very interesting semifinal game or quarterfinal game. You've got the Czechs, who we have all said, probably, who a bunch of us have said have been the kind of the surprise, versus the feel-good story of the tournament, and the Danes. So, as Rob just pointed out, one of them, either the Danes or the Czechs, are making it, and they are on the quote-unquote easier side of the bracket, which sets up nicely for the game that the winner of the game that we are about to talk about. Whether you think it's going to be the good game tomorrow or the bad game, Will says it's going to be boring. I'm sure Rob has a few.
Of course, Will is. It's England.
Yes. But when this was this England-Germany matchup, for so many reasons, was one of the tastier ones that we got when we looked at the semifinal draw. Definitely Belgium-Portugal yesterday. But, when you looked at when the draw came out and we saw this matchup in between England and Germany, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for that one. It's just a shame that it's an early match, not the later one. It would have been, I know the schedules are already determined, but it just would have seemed so much smarter to flip-flop them and put them at the 3:00 game, get a few more eyes, people even work a little bit early. But, maybe they just didn't want to give the English fans that extra couple of hours to get good and sauced up before going to Wembley. So I'm going to get the German perspective first. Rob, what do you think this game is going to look like tomorrow?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be 2 managers flipping, their strategies. There's talks of Southgate going with a back 3, and then on the German side, there is talks of Yogi Löw scraping the back 3 that he's been playing all tournament, and potentially getting Musiala some major minutes. Not being a late sub, and Goretzka finally getting the start over either Toni Kroos or Ilkay Gundogan. So I'm excited because I'm curious to see, Mueller back in the lineup. He's going to start. He looks like he's healthy. I'm curious to see if Lowe stays with a back 3. He might, because he's just so stubborn, but who knows? I'm looking. I think Germany has a great shot. And if England really want to make their mark here and do something crazy, but in a positive direction, they need to start Jadon Sancho. I'm sorry, he needs to play. He's probably one of their most dynamic players, and for him to be on the bench is like, it's football, malpractice. He needs to play or start, if anything. He knows these players very well. And Gareth Southgate needs to get rid of the EPL bias and start Jadon Sancho.
So flipping across the other side to the English perspective, Will, the reluctant England fan.
Look, I think that it's going to be a bit of a snooze fest tomorrow. 1-0 or maybe 2-1. 2-1 if we're getting really crazy here. This is like, that's like, your grandmother goes to the drinks cabinet and gets out the aperitifs after dinner. That's the sort of thing we're talking there. Yeah, so I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of fireworks. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of interest. And Germany is going to win it, unfortunately. So my whole mentality in this tournament about England going forward is everyone singing that stupid song. I won't sing that until it comes home. And if there's even a chance that it doesn't, then there's no point in getting that stuck in my head again. And, Gareth Southgate has so many attacking options and so much and so much potential on that team, the ability to go forward and score goals. It's kind of criminal that they've scored 2 so far. They've scored 2 goals and they've come from Raheem Sterling, who is considered to be out of form, the worst player in the English squad. So take that. Yeah, I do think that it would be interesting to see Jadon Sancho play. I guess I can see where Southgate is coming from. Jadon Sancho is one of the only people, Jadon Sancho and Jude Bellingham are 2 of the only English players that aren't playing in the Premier League. That's why they're not starting. That's why they're not playing for him. He knows that the other players play together on a regular basis. So that was the argument we were saying for the Czech team about why they're so good is, they play together, they play well together, they know each other. That's why he's playing those players together. Do I agree with him? No, I think that he's been messing up the entire tournament and it's kind of dull and boring. Why are you playing the same thing that got you knocked out in the semi-final last time when you have so much possibility to go forward and win it? But it's difficult for me to be excited about this team when so far all I've seen is an ability to scrap out 1 goal and not score again. And that's difficult for me to get excited about against a German team that is Germany. I know that the biggest thing that shoots them in the foot is Germany playing a high line and not being able to defend too much. But England's played against some teams that can't really defend too well. I'm sorry, Cam, but Scotland isn't known for their most robust of defending. The Czech Republic isn't known for the most incredible defenders on earth. These are teams that they're not known for the best defending, and England's barely managed to score. And if England can manage to score, then England will win the game. But if England continues to play the same way they've been playing all tournament, they're going the way of France and they're going to sit in the losers bracket.
Cam, there are 2 things that I know. Number 1, you love Scotland, and number 2, you will never pick England.
No, Scotland is Germany for the next 24 hours. Everybody's hanging German flags out of their house and everything. It's crazy. No, but I do want to. So Yashoda the Elephant, who has successfully picked the winners of the last, I think, few Euros, has picked Germany to win tomorrow. So I've got a lot of faith in Yashoda the Elephant being successful in this.
What happened to Paul the Octopus?
They probably ate him or something.
I think he died.
I think he did die. I remember hearing that somewhere.
Oh, so he got turned into calamari?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, octopi only live for about 5 years.
He was deep fried. He's good.
Pretty sure I had him in my paella the other day.
No, but I think tomorrow, Gareth Southgate's going to have he's going to have an interesting team selection choice with, I think, Mason Mount and Chilwell. From what I saw is that they've been lightly training with the team since coming back from their COVID stint. And I think they could have a really big impact on the game if they are selected for the team. Now, again, they've been doing light training, so I think that puts them at a slight disadvantage. But again, with the impact that we saw them have in their first two, the last two games, that they played in, I think it'll be interesting to see, if they are selected, what their role will be, in that game. I also think, I'm not sure if Rudiger is planning, if he's fit yet or not, or I think it was Gundogan, I think was the other one that was out. I think Gundogan could actually also have a big effect. His record at Wembley, he has a pretty good record at Wembley, I believe. I think the last couple of times they played, he got 2 goals. But Rob, correct me if I'm wrong with that. But I think a large part of it is really going to come down to the specific team selection tomorrow. And Gareth Southgate, I think, is going to have a very he likes to play it safe, but I think tomorrow he's going to have an edge against Germany.
Gee, what do you think?
I think Southgate's going to just let the horses run. I think they're going to let them just go. I think the idea was just get to the knockout round. So, if Grandma's getting all excited going to the liquor cabinet, going for a 2-1 score, I got a 3-2 England. So hopefully Grandpa's joining Grandma over there, showing some whatever Grandma's showing. I think it's going to be kind of like a Belgium. I'm sorry. Excuse me, a Spain-Croatia game. It's going to be a more offensive kind of scoring. It's going to be one of those, I want one more goal than they do. I think they go back and forth. I think the first half is going to go very, very slow. Then I think the second half is going to pour it on. I think the first half they're going to feel it out. Come to halftime, go in the locker room, get a new strategy, and both coaches are going to have something completely different coming out second half. So it's going to be one of the kind of cool games just to watch. And all those 5 people that watch it outside of us, all the other Americans. Today was a great American way to watch soccer. It's one of those things, one of those kind of games to pull American, fans into soccer. So I feel tomorrow's going to be the kind of the same thing with England and Germany. So if you're a non-soccer guy, you want to kind of get into soccer, it's going to be one of those high-scoring games. So I think it's going to go back and forth. So I think England 3-2. I think Harry Kane's going to finally come through. I think Sancho's going to come finally play just because, like Rob said, it's one of those things that they play in the league. They know he probably can speak some German, might understand some German, can say, hey, guys, you're about to do this. So I think England has a kind of a leg up, or Grandpa has a leg up. So I think it's going to be a 3-2 Grandpa over Grandma. So England over Germany.
Instead, we have talked about the players on the field. We've talked about the managers, but these are actually 2 managers who come in with more questions than they've got answers right now. Yogi Löw, the very end of his tenure, Gareth Southgate had a really great run to start getting England to the semifinals of the World Cup, but not necessarily getting all the love in the world coming into this one. It just seems like the names on the backs of the jerseys and the flags on the front are what is keeping us interested. But if you took all of that away, this game might feel a lot different.
Yeah, that's true. But Southgate's got to do something. I mean, that is the only team that is more boring than most of the teams that haven't played anymore. As far as the players are concerned, the fact that the England's going to continue to pick on Raheem Sterling, I really don't know why anymore. It's ridiculous. But the players seem to be looking like they're waiting for the manager to allow them to play. That's just what it feels like when I watch the game. They're like following along. They're kind of going, okay, it's like 60 minutes. Can we play now? And I don't think I've ever seen a team that looks more handcuffed by a manager than this England team looks right now. And because of that, and you know what, G, I really wish that he does what you're suggesting. I have no faith that Southgate's going to do it. I don't. And he's probably sitting there thinking of the demons of past German teams and games, which he shouldn't, and just look at it from a perspective as I have a more talented squad and I should be able to win this game. And he's just not going to do it. And it's a shame. And like if England and France go out in this round of 16, you're looking at two of the more talented squads who are both losing because the manager doesn't know how to get the best out of a squad. And it's, at least from Southgate's perspective, it looks like he's not even sure how to pick a squad. So I am very perplexed. I could see this game going lots of different directions, but I would put more faith in Yogi Love, mainly because he has a trophy. And, you know, this German team, after their own goal loss to France, was already sort of looked at a team that's probably not going to go through. And now they're probably going to quarterfinal. I don't have faith in England right now. I just don't. And it's frustrating because I want to. I really, really want to. I want England to be good, and it's more fun when they're good. And this is a good squad that is just being led poorly right now.
Yeah, I want to hop on that just real quick. I feel the same way. It's like anytime England, like we watch you every freaking week in the EPL, we know what these guys are capable of. Like they're studs on their individual teams. Like, why can't you put them together and make a super team? Like, it doesn't make sense over the years. And I don't know if that's the English, like virus or disease of the team. They have such great talent on paper, but when it comes to on the field, that something just happens. They're crap. So I don't know, but I'm with you, Stead. I'll win for them just to like, hey, we're finally showed up. We're going to dominate the world for the next, 30 years. I don't know what the heck is going on. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that what Southgate says, hey, just go play. I'm going to sit back here and you play the beautiful game. But I'm with you, man. It's anytime England, anytime.
My only hope is that if England do get blown out, that Ian Darke is on the call and he can give another legendary performance like he did against Iceland, because that was one of the greatest commentated games I've ever seen in my life. So hopefully, if we have to deal with that, that's the outcome that we get to enjoy.
Well, the one thing that we should think is that there could be goals in this one. The German defense they've definitely let in a few. They've scored one. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of either one of these teams. After the France game, we were all signing. We put the German team on life support. Then after the Portugal game, it was, oh, they're back, yay. Then after the Hungary game, it was like, now they're going up against an England team that has, I don't want to say they flattered to deceive, because I don't really think at any point this tournament they flattered. They just kind of, they're there. It's that game that you want so bad. I want this game to be compelling tomorrow, especially after what happened today, and especially because, for various reasons, including I don't want to have to hear Chelsea Mike crow if Sweden-Ukraine is somehow better than England, Germany. But, you just want to feel, okay, Ukraine, Sweden, really?
I'm sorry, they could not have had a more dud game be the concluding game.
Yeah.
Watch that
It's
game
blue
be
versus
absolute
yellow.
banger.
Yeah.
Watch it be
So the team that wins will be wearing yellow or blue. That's the only thing I can come up with for that one. I want this so badly to be a good game, one way or the other. I can remember a World Cup game or a Euros game with some great matchups. When Germany scored an absolute screamer to like blitz England 4-0 in the first half. It was just absolutely running riot. Some friendlies. It's been a good matchup that has produced some compelling games over the years. I'm just concerned that they're not going to this time around. And Will is right. It's going to be a dull 1-0 kind of turgid sort of game that will drag on and lead us into the finale tomorrow of the round of 16. Chelsea Mike wants it to be known that he's picking the Ukraine over Sweden. I'm sticking with Sweden. I've really liked what I've seen from Alexander Isak over the course of this tournament. I think he has been one of the better players that I've seen. So I'm sticking with Sweden. They were my pick in the last man standing. And frankly, I just don't like Ukraine all that much. I don't know what to tell you, boss. So anybody got anything to say about you?
Yeah, I'm also picking Sweden. I'm hoping Isak is able to get on the score sheet because he's definitely deserving. I mean, he is obviously now anytime you see a tall, let's say
Swedish.
equally complected striker as me from Europe, they all expect him to play for Arsenal. So you're already hearing the rumors out there that they're going to go for him. But
he is
you know,
definitely one of the guys, one of the players. I think him and perhaps Thorgan Hazard, who has got to be the best Hazard now.
oh yeah.
After that Belgium game and that goal that
Absolutely.
he scored,
Yes.
he is by far the better.
And he looks like he has done well to avoid those Belgian waffles that Hazard's been so much snacking on for the past couple of years. But yeah, I'm pulling. Sweden is the other team that I was dumping on earlier than you're outside of Isak. So hopefully he'll be able to get a couple in. And the fact that the way Ukraine has been diving and screaming in absolute dying pain whenever they get touched this year has made me lose respect for that squad. So pulling for Sweden. I hope they beat them 5-0.
Well, which will set it up again. Well, they're sweet. The winner of that game, I believe, is the last tournament team in the England-Germany side of the bracket, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So the winner of that game would go up. No, or are they on the other side?
Checking.
I'm pretty sure they're
Same
on the England.
Yeah.
They're on the Poland side. Well, my old Poland side. It's not on the Germany
Yeah,
side.
they're going to play Czech Republic, Denmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the England side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, I was going to wrap this part up by saying, do we think that the winner of the game tomorrow, be it Germany or England, has the advantage to make it out of the semifinals and final, given that we have talked about being impressed by Denmark, we've talked about being impressed by the Czech Republic, we've talked about all of them, but are we convinced yet? So do we think that whoever wins this pretty much has a leg up on making it to the finals in Wembley? What do you think, Jay?
I don't know. We've seen weird things happen today. We know you really don't know. It's one of those kind of tournaments that you have these smaller teams coming in, and disrupting what we think that should be, like Czech Republic beating Netherlands, Denmark over Wales 4-0. Just stuff like that. We just really don't know. Swiss over France. As long as England watches the gap, and as long as they hold on for dear life on that kind of a straight line, they kind of bulge a little bit as long as they hold it. England's back defense will hold the German onslaught or the German blitz. So I think the winner of that game, England, I think they'll carry on all the way to the final. So I think whoever they play next would be a little bit easier than Germany. I think England and Germany will be the best games in the next couple games on that side. So we'll see.
What you got, Cam?
Yes, I think G said it best. I mean, this tournament we've seen some crazy results, some of these smaller teams. And I'm hoping now that whoever wins that Germany-England game has realized, not to underestimate these small teams. Again, especially these small teams where, a large number of the players play in similar leagues, which is the case with a team like Sweden. Personally, I think Sweden's going to be the one to advance. And again, like the Czechs, a lot of them have played with each other in the past or are currently playing with each other in the past. And a lot of them have gone to the same player academies when they were younger in Sweden together. So they have that strong team mentality where, again, we may not be seeing that with England and Germany. So, I think once we get to that game, whether it's England, Germany to play whoever is on the other bracket, I think the odds will be stacked against either Ukraine or Sweden. But I think, again, it could be very well easily could be another situation where those odds go out the window because we have a team that knows how to play together and understands each other and have been playing together with each other for a long period of time. So I'm going to be on the side of absolutely no way we can write off whoever plays the winner of England and Germany as the losers. No, I didn't know nothing whatsoever with that.
What you got, Rob?
When you got a team that believes they're full of professional footballers, like like Denmark, I mean, they're not playing scared, and they're not playing scared. And so, if they beat the Czech Republic, and then they face either England or Germany in the semis, I mean, you never write off a Cinderella story like them. The ball's round, the ball does funny things when put it in the box. The referee makes interesting decisions, and VAR's always involved. There's no guarantee. There really is no guarantee. I mean, yeah, you could say you might have a leg up. I would say even half a leg up, if that. This is really because England and Germany have not been impressive this tournament. No one has shown, their true potential, and what we know they're capable of. So with that being said, there's no guarantee at all, and even a sliver of a guarantee that one of those two teams makes the semis, and they might even make the semis. I mean, they might even make the semis with Sweden and or Ukraine coming in. So yeah, this is a weird bracket. This is a fun one to kind of just predict, and anybody who picks one or the other, they have a strong case for them making it to the to the semis.
What you got, Will?
I mean, I have Germany going through to win the whole thing, but I don't think that they have particularly a leg up. As I think what was his name, the Leicester fan on Gary Lineker. As Gary Lineker said when they were talking about England potentially throwing a game to get an easier draw, you just don't do that. You play the game to win it, and if you're thinking about easier bracket, easier draw, you've already lost the game somewhat mentally. And I think that tomorrow is going to be a difficult game for both of the teams that are playing, and the semifinals are going to be the quarterfinals and the semifinals are also going to be very difficult games for both of the teams that are playing. I don't think that you can really discount anything. We're still in the round of 16. Do I think that Germany will probably go through to the final from this side of the bracket? Yes. But could that potentially be wrong as I am about tomorrow being a terrible, boring day? Yes. As Rob was saying, funny stuff happens on a football field. And hopefully it does. Hopefully I'm dead wrong and it's, 7-6 England, Germany tomorrow. I just don't think it's going to happen like that. So hopefully it's 7-6 England wins and, England goes through to beat Sweden and then goes on to beat the Czech Republic and then goes on to win the whole thing. But if I'm being realistic and kind of pessimistic, that's not going to happen for me. Yeah, I think that they don't have an extra advantage, but if whoever wins tomorrow wins, they do have a leg up because they are still in the tournament and the other team isn't. So yeah, I guess.
So what you got, Stead?
I don't think they have a leg up at all. I really don't. I have not seen anything impressive about really any of the big dogs outside of Italy and Belgium. I have not seen anything remotely impressive out of these teams. And you can't for a minute think that Denmark or Czech Republic believe that they don't have a shot to final. They have to be sitting there looking at their bracket as well, saying, look, we have a down German team. We have an England team that looks like they've yet to get out of bed. And I think both of these teams are also saying we have professionals, we know these guys, we know how they play, we've been playing together for years. We can beat anybody, and they're proving it. I personally don't see anyone with an advantage, but I also don't think that an England or a German team, whichever team happens to get to the quarters, and if they're so fortunate to get to the semis, believe that they have a leg up either. This is one of the most open tournaments I've seen since I started following this particular tournament. And it's exciting, but yeah, I think Germany feels better about their game against England than they would about any of the subsequent games they would have on this side of the bracket.
If this tournament has proven one thing to us, we know it's going to be interesting, even if Will's prediction holds true and the game tomorrow in the best. We'll see. Well, that's about all the time we got for this evening. So I want to thank Cam, Byron Rob, Coach G, and British Will for joining us. Instead, as always, for keeping the trains running on time. We'll be back Wednesday or Thursday with a full wrap up of the round of 16, and I look forward to the weekend's action as we narrow the field down even further from 8 to 4. So for the cast of millions, I'm Mike. This has been the Too Many Guys Soccer Show Tournament Edition. We did all right this time. We'll try and do better next time. And yes, no rants about Delran, New Jersey this week.